would like to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by the Dolphin Wars.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to King Dolphin TV. I am Raymond Feliciano, the Dolphin King and author of the Dolphin Wars series of books. And tonight we have another book interview. We have Derek Beningfield, aka Deef, as we know him as. He is the author of the previous novel, Eyes of a Killer. And now he's got Circle of Vengeance out there. We'll talk about that book, but before we get going, as always, if you like what we're doing here at the pod, if you love these interviews, and if you love the all-around fun, please like and subscribe. Also, if anybody out there knows other creators that I should interview and bring to the channel, please send me their names so I can reach out to them. And let me welcome the people who are here so far. Oh, Snort's ready to growl at StreamYard. Now we're good. We're good. And Snort is also saying he's either here to discuss the majestic moose or talk about his new book. He's going to talk about his new book, but maybe we can get some moose talk. Okay, so right now we have the Wrench Team Supreme. We've got the first in, the last out. Legatus Legionii is here, always ready to, with his intelligent questions and witty repartee, and to keep the strange bots, the trolls, away from our center. We have the Comic Relief Crusader. Hello, sir. Glad to see you, and hope you enjoy the interview tonight. We have, and of course, well, we don't have the music, but we'll get close enough. Startup Poopas! Killbar.com. Let's talk about a book. All right, so, and then last but definitely not least, especially not least, our producer Sandra, and my other half, the one who keeps me sane and out of trouble. Hello, honey, how you doing? All right, so, yeah, Legata says he denies doing whatever he is currently being accused of. You know, you're always being accused of something. All right. So, without further ado, hello, Deef. How are you doing, Derek? Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you back on here.
Right on.
Thank
you for having me.
Always fun to have you here, and always great when we talk about your books.
Thank you.
So, as you know, the way we do things, we'll do the short question and answer period. And then the chat will ask their questions. So, and remember, chat, StreamYard swallows these things. So please show a little bit of patience. It will not be a long question and answer stream. But before we go ahead, let me put your book cover up. Well, actually, let me get your. Oh, well, I've got a better view of it.
I have the really old, super old version.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to put, okay, we can do that.
Yeah. No, this is the good version.
Oh, second. Okay. And the one before it was? Here, put them up alongside.
Okay. This is the one I did myself on Photoshop 10
Uh-huh.
years ago, and this is the professionally one done that just
Nice.
came out re-edited, longer,
Cool.
not so many commas.
Yeah, the comma people.
Yeah, I was calling when I was re-editing it. I started calling the book Star Wars Attack of the Commas.
Yeah, that happens. I get a lot of that from
Yeah.
my editors. All right, so you have currently 2 books. That
I
you
have
got.
2 books.
You have 2
Yep.
books.
I have 2 books.
This one is Eyes of a Killer. And
Well, in terms of professionally done, yes.
okay, you are re-releasing. Okay, your first novel was the first Okay,
Was
Circle of Vengeance.
Circle
but
of Vengeance.
This is a re-release of it.
Yes, professionally done, with its own ISBN number,
Oh, cool.
all official, and I decided to re-release it after I had the Eyes of a Killer published, and it didn't seem right to have one that was all professionally done and leave the old one, which I really like, which is relevant to the stories going forward. I didn't want to leave that in just the form of a chapbook. I wanted it to be professionally done and fix many of the issues that I had with it in the first place. It just seemed like a natural progression.
So Circle of Vengeance is the original novel.
That's right.
And with The Eyes of a Killer being the second one.
That's right. That's right.
But now we're talking about the re-release. Okay.
Yes, we're talking about Circle of Vengeance.
All righty. So let's then we'll go into this next question after we talk about, can you give a spoiler-free synopsis of the Circle of Vengeance?
Well, I can.
Huh?
But it'll cost you. Yeah. Well, I could just read the.
Just read the back.
Yeah, the back cover. Okay. When the Gauls, a notorious biker gang, gunned down celebrated Crown prosecutors, the Canadian Special Operations Executive sends one of its best operatives, Hawk White, to hunt them down.
Okay.
And that's basically it.
That is a name. That is a character name, Hawk White.
Yeah, John Hawk White.
Oh, okay. There was a John. Okay.
Yeah. But I
first names
was thinking about this for a long time. But we do live in a world where we have people named Wolf Blitzer, which, regardless what you think of the guy, that's the coolest name in the history of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish my name were Wolf Blitzer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, so how long did it take you to, 1, write the original one, and 2, what made you decide? Well, you did mention that you wanted to tweak it, but what was the real reason that you decided to go with a re-release, a second edition / re-release?
Well, I was always really pleased with the way this turned out. I wrote it in. Well, that's a long story in of itself. I came up with the original concept, which I just called the conspirator novel back in the day, back in 2002, when I didn't have a title. I developed the just this idea of you have a whole bunch of a story told from the perspective of the villains that only features Hawk White as one of kind of an ensemble cast, and he has a little small part to play in it, but as the story progresses, he becomes more important as bad guys would fall off in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I had the chance to get this written in 2012 because of a creative writing course that I was taking, which was to write a book of no more than 8,000 words to submit to a John Harris Fiction Awards, I had the conspirator novel idea in my head, and so I set about writing it, the whole story. And to that, I had 4 months to write it, but then the criteria kept changing, and so I was originally going to write something else, but then They said, "Oh yeah, you can, first a maximum of 20 pages and then 8,000 words." And so I got to the 8,000 word mark and decided to write Circle of Vengeance. Well, what became Circle of Vengeance. And one of the original ideas that I had from the conspirator novel is that there'd be the wife of this crime lord, and then that Hawkwhite would be using her for information to basically spy for him, so that he could target bad guys to take down. And originally, like I said, back in the day, she was going to be completely oblivious to what was going on. And then I remember sitting down to write the outline about 3 weeks before the fiction awards, and I was like, to heck with this. She's a bad guy, and she knows exactly what's going on. and she thinks she can do a better job than the people who are running it. And so that was just one of them things, and it worked out in the end because, well, like I wrote this in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks maybe at most, and it just, everything came together. It turned out a lot better than even I could have hoped for. But it was one of those things.
The bottom line is, did you win?
No, I didn't win. It's good, but it's I will say that the person who this isn't right. I don't want to say the person who won deserved to win. I thought other people deserved to win. I don't think I deserved to win. I knew I wasn't going to win. I think the lady who did deserve to win didn't win, and the guy who did deserve to win didn't. The guy who
won.
The guy who did win, I don't think deserved. I don't think the guy who won deserved to win. I thought the older lady deserved to win because her story was clearly superior. But the other guy's story was more edgy, I guess. But I got the loudest applause, and right away I had guys walking up to me saying, "I want to buy your book," because one of the things is you go up and you read a section of your story. And so I was like, "Well, I'm gonna read the fight scene to the crowd." And all the older guys, the younger guys were walking up, and they were like, "I want to buy your book." And so I didn't win the award, but I think I made the most sales that night. So
nice.
There we go.
Nice sales. Yeah. Sales are good.
That's right.
Sales are really good.
Well, I mean, it appeals to that. The more masculine market, right? So if you like James Bond, you like Jason Bourne, if you like those type of stories, then you'll like Circle of Vengeance, and you'll like The Eyes of a Killer.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And like when I first wrote this, it was only 2.5 weeks, and I always kept going back because there was an inconsistency in it, which was pretty easy to fix. But by then I was like, well, it's already out, it's already done. No reason to go back and rehash it. It's time to move on and do other things, and yada yada yada. And then, like I said, I wrote The Eyes of a Killer, and I did that. And once it was out, I was so happy with it. I was like, well, you know what? I might as well just go back and redo Circle of Vengeance and fix the issues that I had with it, and get rid of all those commas and that inconsistency. And part of only having 2.5 weeks to actually get this done, it was kind of skeletal in a lot of places as I was racing against the clock, because I was working a part-time job and taking full-time courses, going between 2 separate institutions on opposite sides of the city that I was staying in at the time. So that's just, it necessitated kind of a skeletal nature, which is kind of why I suspect that I didn't win the awards in the first place, but not that I was expecting to. But hey, I mean, opportunity presents itself. Why not take it? Because you never know.
Yeah.
So I was able to fix a lot of the issues in this version. Very pleased with it, and it's good. It's good. It's only something like 60 pages, but it's a really, 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 really good 60 pages.
Oh, okay.
And you might say that 60 pages is a short story, but it's structured like a novel. It's got chapters,
Oh, a novella.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's more like a novella, but
yeah, it's structured. Yeah.
Let's see. So now, I know we've talked about this before, but to remind any new people, do the two books tie together?
Well, in this one, it deals with the Gauls, who are a notorious biker gang, and their activities. Because, well, like I said in the synopsis, it's they're a biker gang that's gunned down crown prosecutors. And the story
Which
on
is
that, crown prosecutor's like a state prosecutor
okay.
in the United States. So
Okay.
yeah, they prosecute for the crown.
All right.
And so what the Gauls have been doing is deliberately targeting members of the criminal justice system, so that they will be able to intimidate the criminal justice system to keep them from going after them. So they're
Okay.
trying to basically, in their own sense, just bully the authorities into letting them have their little criminal empire. And so the Canadian Special Operations Executive, which is a fictional organization that I made up based on the British Special Operations Executive from World War II, they're like, yeah, no, if they want to play ball, we'll play ball, right? So
Okay.
one of those things.
Okay.
And
So you decided
there
to
is.
keep.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
No, that's
The
okay. Go on.
Gauls, yeah, no, the Gauls is the biker gang that's involved in these illegal activities, and the Eyes of a Killer follows up on it's the Eyes of a Killer. Like I said before, it's an unintended sequel. It deals with the loose ends of the Gauls and the fallout from what happens in this.
Okay. Right.
But like I said, it's not a direct sequel. It deals with the loose ends. The direct sequel to Circle of Vengeance is the book I'm working on right now, provisionally titled The Gene Core Project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that later on.
Right on.
Okay. So you said the first. Okay. Circle of Vengeance was a week. Oh no, 8 weeks. That it took you to write the initial draft.
2.5 weeks.
2.5. Okay.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks to actually write it, and about another half week to do the outline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once you decided that you've got a winner there, did you farm it out to other publishers or just decide to self-publish yourself?
I just self-published myself. I literally did this on a home printer.
Okay.
So, designed the cover myself on Photoshop, because I had free access to Photoshop at my school, which is one of the things, I do have GIMP on one of my computers, which is just basically like free Photoshop, but different, uses different terminologies and all that. But one of the problems I have with Photoshop is you can't just spend, like you used to buying a video game, spend $80 and get the whole package that updates once in a while. Now it's like, oh, pay us $5 a month or whatever it is. I hate that. I hate that model. If it were just spend the money right now to have it, I would own it, but I don't. So
okay.
But yeah, so like all on Photoshop, just took a stock image and modified it.
That's what I did with All's Fair.
Yeah, I started reading that actually. Yeah.
Oh, good. Glad you like it so far.
Yeah. I've only read the prologue, but I'm
yeah. The prologue's
I'm busy.
The prologue's a pretty long prologue, but I like it.
Yeah.
It sets some various tones.
Yeah.
So when you decided on the rewrite, or to publish both the Eyes of a Killer and Circle of Vengeance, where did you decide to go to publish them?
They're still self-published, but in order to get them printed, I go to Big Country Printers.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they're a local print shop.
Let me ask: Did you consider Kindle, or is it too much of a mess up there in Canada?
I never even considered Kindle. The thing is, I'm one of those backwards people who still has a flip phone. I have a burner phone. I don't have one of those.
You've got a
Not
burner
yet.
phone? Ooh.
I have a burner phone. Yeah, that's right. And the batteries, they last forever, right? And I always hate when I see people walking around and they got their heads down all day just typing as they walk into
A wall
yeah,
or a
literally,
car.
or yeah. No, I was first on the second on the scene of a kid who got run over by a truck one time because he wasn't paying attention.
Oh
But
yeah,
my
I see
yeah,
so many. I see so many of those just going.
yeah.
You know, it's just like situational awareness. Where the heck are you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you see, but I know for a fact that if I got one of those phones, I would be one of those people. So it's just best not to do it. The point being that technologically, I tend to stay older fashion in a lot of ways, to my own detriment, unfortunately.
Okay.
I have PayPal, I have that sort of stuff, but the idea of self-publishing is I don't. Um, you're not going to be making as much money, but you'll have more creative freedom, and that's ultimately what I want. So I've
Yeah.
bad
Well,
experience with um, publishers. I don't want to get too much into details. I don't want to get in trouble, but uh, I had a couple of bad experiences with the newspaper when I was writing articles for it. So
uh,
I tend to
well,
just want to. I don't like it when people go in and they change your words to completely change the meaning. It's like, then what's the point? What's the point if you're going to completely change the point of the article?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
do it yourself.
Well, I have a love. I like Kindle. I do have a love-hate relationship with them, and
Mhm.
and I'll probably stick with Kindle at least for the time being. It's like you said, you want that creative freedom. Once you farm it out to somebody, you don't have that creative freedom.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
I could start a YouTube channel and get 300,000 subscribers and then sell my book, and then lots of people would buy.
Yeah.
And then I could probably put it on Amazon or something like that, which I should probably do. But I have problems with Amazon and all their
Well, Amazon and
stuff.
Kindle own each other, so or yeah,
Oh, do they?
yeah.
Oh,
Amazon,
okay.
Kindle's a part of Amazon.
Yeah,
That's
I don't like Amazon's censorship. I don't like all this. Part of the reason I don't go to a publishing company is I know that they're doing a lot of the censorship stuff too. It's just the safer bet. I mean, self-publishing is the future. That's
mhm,
what I
yeah,
think. So,
yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see. I don't have that many questions. Let's see. A couple more. Characters. Who are your? Who's your favorite character, and who's the one you want to choke slam?
my favorite character. That
And
is a really good question because you'd think it's Hawk White. You'd think it's Hawk White. He's one of my protagonists, but in The Eyes of a Killer, I deal with the plural protagonist, which is um, well, Hawk White is one half of the plural protagonist, and the other half would be Angela Mitchell. And I know I've spoken to you about the plural protagonist before, but for those who don't know, the plural protagonist is when there's more than one protagonist, but those protagonists are equal one character, sort of like a marriage where you have two, the man and the woman become one flesh. But with a plural protagonist, in theory at least, although it's not the case in The Eyes of a Killer, the two characters don't ever have to come into contact with one another. You can have one guy who's in New York and another guy who's in Moscow, and they never meet. But when one experiences a victory, they both share in it in one way or another.
okay.
Yeah, and when one suffers a defeat, both experience a setback.
Okay. All right. So those are the good guys. What
Those are
about
good guys. So which is my favorite?
to choke slam?
Say they're my favorite overall characters. Hawk or Angela. I like them both equally because they are complementary characters in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Favorite character to choke slam. I don't really need to choke slam characters when I can just kill them.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm doing the.
I got so many good ones.
See, I could have said you could want to kill him, but I think choke slam seemed better.
Yeah.
Keeps YouTube off our back.
Yeah. Well, there are lots of characters who get choke slammed in my stories.
Okay. I like the idea that it's a. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You first.
No. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's I don't want to spoil it anything.
Yeah,
I say
that's
is
fine.
my favorite character to choke slam.
Who was that?
I try to make all my villains interesting in their own way, and not cliched. Although what a cliche is a cliche because they're true, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an element of truth to every cliche.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. And how you said you have one more novel in the works?
Yeah, I'm working currently on. I don't know how long the series is going to be. Originally, post The Eyes of a Killer, I was thinking about another 7 or 8. But right now, if I am going to do that, I want to write the first 4. So it would be the Gene Core Project, then the Gene Core Retaliation, and then 2 more, which I'm still toying with the titles. So I'd write those first 4, and then I'd take a break and do some other stuff, and then consider the possibility of coming back and do the next 3 or 4. It's hard to say, but no, there's a whole. Yeah. Thank you. No, it's a process. There is an end goal in sight. I want to do justice to the story and to the characters, and I want them to be my stories. They're meant to tell good stories. They're not they're meant to tell good stories with interesting characters that you can relate to or become interested in or whatever. My stories are not meant to be 100% realistic. They're meant to be believable enough without being necessarily realistic. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, like Canada, for example, doesn't have the death penalty, but I have characters who were assigned by the government to essentially do just that.
License to kill.
Yeah, that's right. And, it does become an issue of, it is something that characters are aware of, and it's not always easy, but there's a justification for it, right? So it's like, well, we're not fighting criminals, we're fighting soldiers. It's kind of the rationale behind it in their minds.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right.
And and this is actually important to the stories because, like, my stories, this was written in 2012, which is when the story's set.
Right.
And I know you don't want to get into politics or anything like that. Neither do I, really. But the stories, they do take place over several years. Mm-hmm. And in 2012, I thought my country was on the correct path to making things better. But now things are a lot different. And in terms of, a lot of the world events like 9/11 happen in this series a lot, and the war in Afghanistan and the big events of history all play out. Okay. So big events of history are still, the big events are still going to happen, and I don't really want to, and it was never really a part of the original plan, but hey, if you want to keep things similar to what's going on in real life and have consequences, because it doesn't exist in this universe. Stephen Harper was Prime Minister of Canada in 2012, but in Circle of Vengeance, it's not Stephen Harper. Or like in Goldmember, it looks like Godzilla, but due to international copyright law, it is not. Sort of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's going to have to deal with some of these things, and
Okay.
Is there going to be dissociation? Is there going to be, like, what the heck are we doing? Because that's what I was actually thinking when I wrote The Eyes of a Killer when it first came out, and I was really demoralized. And it's like, what the heck am I even doing if this is what's going to happen? Like,
Yeah.
But I decided, hey, you know what? Like, I'm not going to let these idiots who are taking everything from us take away something that I've worked my entire life for. So,
Okay.
for me, it's therapy in a lot of ways.
Well, that's
and
good.
Yeah. So that's that. You try to dance around it a little bit, but you still get the general issue, because I believe very strongly about certain things like freedom and all that, and I can't divorce it from
Understand.
who I am or anything like that. So
I understand totally.
it hurts. Yeah, it hurts. Like what's happening to me in my country, it hurts me very deeply. And it's gonna have to, I didn't want this. I didn't want this for my stories or anything like that, but it's gonna have to be addressed at some point, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah. Without being a political story, because they're not political stories. They're meant to be entertaining and fun, and make people think about certain things.
Okay.
With really good themes, like Circle of Vengeance. I wonder what the theme of that is. Well, revenge is an unending circle. That's the theme of the story.
Okay.
Right? So, yeah.
All right. So let us go to the chat. I'm going back to about the beginning, because we've got some cool stuff out there. Snortopoopa says, you're talking about Rocky and Bullwinkle, and yay, Bullwinkle J. Moose is very silly. Yeah. I remember that show. Legata says, being professional is overrated. And yes, you can start asking the questions. There's already stuff out there.
In terms of the moose, I've almost been run over by a moose. I was hunting with my dad when I was 16, and he said there was this gigantic bull moose that they saw, that he and his hunting partner saw, and he wanted to go see if he could get it. So he took me with him, and I remember we parked on the logging road there, and then we go for a walk for 3 or 4 kilometers, and then over this hill to our right, a moose just appears on the silhouette, and he's like, "Is that a big one or a small one?" Because it was just facing, and we couldn't see the size. And as soon as he said it, it turned its head like this, and it just showed off this massive rack. And we're like, "Oh, that's the big one." I said, "No." He said, "Is that the big one, or is that a big one or a little one?" And I said, "I think that's a little one." Then as soon as I said it,
oh, it's a big one.
It's like, "Oh, that's a big one." But we never ended up getting it. But we saw a couple of moose run off into the woods half a kilometer away, and then so we decided to get the truck and circle around to another side road, get out. We started walking about a kilometer up the road, and then we just hear this galloping sound coming towards us down the road, and I look to my right because I'm facing the woods on the left, and I just hear this galloping coming towards us. And then I turn to my right looking down the road, and I see my dad. He's waving he's got his rifle in his right hand. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," like this, and there's just this a calf and a cow moose just charging right towards us, and then they're not stopping, they're not slowing down at all. And so I get in the middle of the road, I got a little 22 in my hand, like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," and then they're still not stopping. So we both step off to the side of the road, and the calf moose runs right past me, and I swear I could have reached out, not a word of a lie, I could have reached out this far and touched it. And I was 16. I was only 5'6" at the time, and its shoulder was right up to the top of my head. Like, wow! And I remember the cow moose. She came to a skidding halt right in front of my dad, and her ears were back, and she just blew out all this condensation out of her nostrils. And my dad, he was aiming at her because he don't, and he literally said, "Don't make me shoot you, ma'am." And then the cow moose turned off and into the woods and went away. But we were like, "What the heck scared? What could have scared? What could have elicited that response out of those moose?" And we're walking further down. And then we didn't see anything, so we started walking back. And that calf moose charged all the way back to the truck, right around the truck, and just kept going. Like, I don't know what spooked him, but boy, oh boy, they're no stopping them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my moose story.
All right. Legata says, "Hunt them down." It sounds like bounty hunters to me.
Yep. Well, Hawk White is a Canadian Forces sniper, so yeah, and a hunter.
Okay.
Grew up in the woods.
And Legata says, "Are you sure this is not an unofficial biography?" Ooh.
Yeah,
Deef,
yeah.
Mountain Man.
I
Mountain
cannot
Man
confirm
hunter.
nor deny that. Yeah,
And Legatus also says, "Sales is winning." Yes.
that's right. Yeah.
Yes. And hello, Matt G. Welcome. Welcome to the show. And a feliz año a feliz año, amiga Rita Castillo. Hello, Rita. How are you? Welcome again to King Dolphin TV. Let's see. Looking. She says, "Saludos to the chat." And Legatus is saying, "I see you've recovered from the shout out." I guess that's a remark to Rita. And we got Pudgy. Hello, Pudgy. Hail, Pudgy. Pudgy runs fast around Deef, around Raymond. Pudgy supercharged the Nutella. YouTube said show started at 11 p.m. Pudgy Gland made it. Bounce. Ooh.
I just noticed the title that you have on the Deef Returns. Ooh.
Yeah, with a vengeance. Vengeance.
Well, that'll have to be the third one.
Deef Returns with a Vengeance. Snortapoopa says something like a district attorney. And
yeah,
it's
2
feet
they're
off
government prosecutors. Yeah.
Pudgy, you don't need a rabbit catapult. With Nutella, you can bounce up very high. And Rita
I think in Canada, everybody, if you want to be a defense attorney, you first have to be a prosecutor or something like that. So I'm not 100% certain on the rules. It's been a long time since I've really spoken to lawyers about it.
Okay.
I had a lot of lawyers as instructors when I was in college. One of them I argued with quite a bit, and you realize that you're only ever gonna, if they're wrong about things and you point out to them and you get them to admit that they're wrong about this one thing, they will not give you the next 2 things, no matter how convincingly no matter how good you are at argument.
And Rita says hello or hola to
hello,
Derek. Okay.
Bonjour.
All right. Let's see. And Comic Relief Crusader is graphic design here that can help.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Thing is, I'm just so happy with the guy that I've got right now that he would have to say no first.
Okay.
And he's local.
I'm
sure you understand.
Ooh, Nutella and Hedgehogs. It is by Nutella alone. Pudgy said, "Mind in motion." It is by the hazelnut that thoughts acquire speed. The lips acquire stains. The stains become a warning. It is by Nutella alone. Pudgy set mind in motion. That sounds like something out of Dune. All right.
Another thing about graphic design that for self-publishing is like I do have artistic talent. I draw pictures once. I'm not super duper amazing and all that. I work at it and I have fun doing it, and it actually does help me with when I'm suffering writer's block to sit down and try drawing one of my characters. I don't know, it just sparks the mind. And so when it comes to a title page, I do have something, generally speaking, what I want in mind.
Okay.
Like for Circle of Vengeance, when I did it 10 years ago, well, what's the title page going to be? Well, it's like a film noir or book noir, I guess. So it's like, well, circles. And when doing the redesign, I gave them the original cover. I said something like that, but different. And so, he gave me this, which the back cover is
circles.
That, right? So I really appreciated that.
Okay.
And of course, then, going back in time a little bit, The Eyes of a Killer, I chose the image and he did the rest. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Whoop that phone. And Legata says flip cell phone. I call it my Star Trek communicator. No stupid smartphone for me.
Yeah, I wish, when I opened it would go. I really want it to do that, but it doesn't. And flip phones are the best. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
as opposed to this, and I don't drop my phone that often, but when I drop it, it goes clunk. I'm like, oh, bleep. But then it works just fine. And I see other people, they drop their little thing from half the distance and they got to spend $300 or $400 to get a new one. It's like,
Mhm.
come on.
Snortapoopa says Deef likes to hold books. Besides, it's easier to throw a book at people.
That's right.
Hail
That's right.
Snortapoopas. Let's see. Burner phone and CSOE. Whatever CSO. What was CSOE?
CISO, Canadian Special Operations Executive.
Okay. I'm sensing some shenanigans there.
Yeah.
And Rita.
Yeah. In Canada, we have a tendency, we have JTF2, which is our special forces unit, but then we have our equivalent of the U.S. Army Rangers, which is Canadian Special Operations Regiment, which is called CSOR, and then we have Canadian Security Intelligence Service, which is like CIA, and we call it CSIS. So it's always, and so I thought, well, CSOE, CISO.
Okay.
It's got a good acronym for that.
Publishers equal censorship and editing control, plus must include XYZ or no publish.
That's exactly
Agreed.
Right. 100%.
Agreed.
That's right. Just maintain your creative freedom, and if you can create for yourself a platform and get 100,000 subs or whatever, or do what Raymond's doing, just start your own YouTube channel and promote your stuff that way. Be entertaining, and if you're entertaining, people will be like, oh, I kind of want to check this guy out. Oh, hey, he wrote books. Let's
go and check. Yeah.
See, I know what to do. It's just doing it.
Yeah. When you self-publish, you're your own writer, editor, marketer. Yeah.
And it's exciting. It's exciting when you sell a book. I was at work, Jesus, about a month and a half ago, but I was just sitting there, and then one of my coworkers comes up. He's like, I was at this store today, and I saw someone buy your book. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, someone bought your book. I was like, oh yeah. And he's wanted to be like, I know that guy.
Where did you take the book? Okay, so you did like I did. You go to the bookstore and say, here, can you put my books out?
Yep.
How many did you give them?
Yeah, right now it's locally. I've given out to bookstores about 20, and I have to give out more. And I've sold The Eyes of a Killer. I printed off 100. I've sold about 30 or so far. So
okay,
yeah.
All right. Snortapoopas has got a question.
And Circle of Vengeance just came out, and I printed off 30, 35 or these 35 or 40, something like that, and I sold them all. And then over the years, people were asking for more copies, and it was super expensive to get these printed, and so I would just send them out on a PDF for free or whatever. So I'd say 60 or 70 copies of the old versions, but these just came out, so I think I've 4 so far.
Okay.
I haven't even put them in stores yet because I'm waiting for the other copies to come in before I can really do a price estimate. So, yeah, but it's definitely going to be cheaper than The Eyes of a Killer because it's quite a bit thinner. So, obviously.
Snortapoopas asks, are any of your characters in your books based on people you know, not necessarily in professions, but personalities, quirks, etc.? How about situations?
In terms of, well, there's the saying, and I'm sure you're aware of this as a writer yourself, but every single one of your characters has a little bit of yourself in them. Put some of my own personality traits or quirks in some of my characters, even the bad ones, even the bad guys, because believe it or not, I'm not perfect. I know. I mean, I know I'm angelically beautiful, but no, I'm anything but perfect. God is my witness. In terms of no, sometimes I just try to come up with things that I think are interesting, or how I think people would behave. I like I do like listening to crime documentaries once in a while, and just listening to interviews with people who are in that world. Like for The Eyes of a Killer, I was listening to this one Russian human trafficker, and he was like, "Oh, no one disobeys me, nobody." And I was like, that is a really good line, and I wanted to put that line into my story. No one disobeys me. Like what? Well, like you always get what you want. No one disobeys me. No one disobeys me ever. And that's just one of them. Because he didn't. That guy, I'm not, super physically big or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. This guy was skinnier than me, but you did not look like you wanted to mess with him.
Okay. Pudgy is spoiling your book.
Uh-oh.
In
Oh.
Mr. Deef book, there's a guy who does a thing in a place. He ruined your book.
I know. I can't believe this.
Pudgy. Pudgy.
He's all upset because I said that Mere Pudgy is just Pudgy with a mustache on. There's been revenge ever since.
Yes. Okay. And Snort says, that reminds me of what the Papa Bear once told me. Why bother hugging them when you could tear them limb from limb?
That's true. Right.
Mm-hmm. That is true. Let's see. A crime story and it doing justice. Yay! Put those criminals behind bars.
Well, it was funny because when I wrote Circle of Vengeance, my best friend who's co-authoring the stories to come, when I told him about the concept of Circle of Vengeance, he was like, "Oh well, there are these bad guys and they're doing these really awful things, and basically the prime minister, the unnamed prime minister, is like, yeah, just deal with these guys by whatever means necessary." And it's like, okay, well, we'll start offing them, right? And my best friend's like, good, that's what should happen to those people. People like that, yeah, like, carrot stick, right? So
all right. Let's see.
And I wanted to create stories because there's so many, you have, first of all, James Bond, all these people who think that the CIA's been incompetent or whatever. I've known that since I was a child. You know how many times James Bond had to save their butts because they couldn't do anything right? I mean, basically, that's the story of every James Bond movie. CIA doesn't do something right. The British have to come in, send James Bond, and put it right and save the world. I mean, but they have all these. They have all the British stuff. They have all the American stuff, and then more American stuff, and more American stuff. And then it's like, well, you know what? We're involved too. Why not create badass Canadian characters that are out there doing their thing and nobody knows about it?
That's true.
Right? And they work in tandem with Americans and the British. And, I have a problem. There's terrible, because I freaking hate it. I hate it when it goes both ways, right? But you have one story, say, following one nationality, but they make the other nationality look like complete incompetent morons. So like I forget the name. I never watched it. I've seen a whole bunch of clips on YouTube. It's about this American sniper guy, and he's working with these British snipers, and the British snipers are complete morons, right? It's like, come on, that's so stupid. Like, that's a British sniper. A British sniper would never do that, and the Americans just lecturing him about what a good sniper would be. It's like, shut up. So I try not to demean other countries. Like there are Americans in future stories, and they're not going to be incompetent. They're British guys, and they're not going to be incompetent. See, so even though the stories are following them and what they're doing, it's very clear that it's a team effort, right? So
yeah. Okay. And here it is. I was wondering when this was coming. Deef, Pudgy asks, what is your favorite cookie?
Oh, that.
The world wonders.
Macadamia nut cookies are really good. See, you know what? There's a way out of this question. My favorite cookie are the cookies that you get at Aroma Foods because they are the size of your outstretched hand.
Ooh.
So I get cookies. I get chocolate chip cookies. I get raisin cookies. I get Smarties cookies. I get macadamia nut cookies. I get peanut butter cookies. I've got a whole bunch in my refrigerator right now that I pack in my lunch, and then I give away to some people who I think are doing a good job.
Huh.
And
Okay.
I give some to my brother all the time to go and give him a cookie. And then
All right.
yeah, and then he told me that he liked the Rings of Power series, and so I told him, "That's it. You don't get any more cookies." And I stopped giving him cookies. And then the boss comes by. He's like, "Yeah, so I don't want to involve myself in family affairs, but like, why don't you give your brother cookies anymore?" And so I told him exactly why. And then my brother came up to me. He's like, "You know what? The only reason I like Rings of Power is because of all the YouTube videos that mock it." It's like, okay, that's acceptable. You get cookies again. So I started giving him cookies.
Okay. Comic Relief says moose will kill you. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen lots of moose. My dad is quite a proficient hunter as well, so he's got many, many, many more moose stories.
And Legatus asks, Snort, were you up there? Did you scare them moose? And Snort neither confirms nor denies.
Yeah.
Okay, another question from Legatus. Have you had many pre-orders? Do you ship in a Gemini, or what do you use?
I have pre-orders in the sense that there are a whole bunch of people at work who really support my work, and they're like, "When's your next book coming out?" So in that sense, yes, I've sold most of my books to people who've been interested in wanting to read my stories as they've seen me writing them over the past couple of years, just largely at work. I take my notepad in there and I do my writing, and then they're interested. But in terms of actually getting stuff done, and this is entirely my fault, no.
Okay.
If you want,
I don't know what
I do have PayPal. I also have direct deposit, or whatever they call that.
Zelle, I think.
Yeah,
I think
like
we
that.
use Zelle down here.
Okay, but yeah. So if you send me an email to derekbeningfield@gmail.com and would like a copy, we can work it out there. Yes.
Okay.
And I know I could go through, like I said before, I probably should go through Amazon. There's just a lot of stuff that I don't like in terms of their businesses and what they're doing that it seems, even though it's to my own detriment, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure you understand. I'm sure many people understand.
Yeah. I'm good, Pudgy. I'm good. Just a little. Comic Relief says, no worries, dude.
Yeah.
And the Goddess Legionnaire says, will we get Deef interior art? What a bonus. Is the art black and white or colored?
I could actually run upstairs and grab some pictures if you'd like to show some of my characters.
Sure.
Okay, I'll be. I do have them on my computer as well, but
if you want to share them, we can share them here.
Oh, sure. Actually, I'm gonna run up and grab a couple of them anyway because I have printed off a couple of the black and white ones and then just pencil crayon them in.
All right,
I'll be right back. I'll 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, right on. I'll be right back.
Snorter Poopa says, bears, battle enhanced Arctic reconnaissance specialists. We eat seals for breakfast. Pudgy falls over, sugar wore off. Pudgy, but there, code H, hedgehog down, code H, hedgehog down. And let's see. Comic Relief laughs, saying, oh, hello, Miss Martin Muses. How are you? It's been a while. Welcome. We are with Derek Beningfield, also known as Deef, and we are waiting for him to come back and show us some of his book art. Let's see. Pudgy says, dang, thanks. Now I don't have to buy the book. Arg. Okay. Okay. And now Cobalt's here. Cobalt waves a wing, checks on Pudgy. Too much sugar can be a bad thing. Yes. Okay. Cobalt, Cobalt, Cobalt. All right.
Oh well, here's an interesting one.
Okay.
Well, you saw the. I'll show you. Of course, go back to that. Da-da-da. Well, this is years ago when I thought this is years ago. I was working on
Oh,
that
nice.
just because Angela Mitchell's eyes are supposed to be really, eye-catching too.
Mhm.
And then of course this, and I'm like, well, that's exactly because I can see the character's entire face from this image, right? Like that's exactly what she looks like. So this is a recent one that I did of the character. So you can and I did that before I found the picture of the
Oh,
eye.
nice. Nice.
And so yeah, you can, like I said, you can see the whole face from that one image. So I was really excited when I
Okay.
finally found what ended up being my title page. And this isn't necessarily art of my characters, but I did this in 2010. My goodness, there we go. I did that in 2010 in about 6 hours. That includes the dinner break that I had. In terms of characters, this is a character from The Eyes of a Killer, a minor character, but he's going to be a major character in stories to come.
Okay.
Schroeder Laszlo, he's in The Eyes of a Killer.
All right.
I've actually been playing with AI art, Stable Diffusion, and that's the future. Actually, those ones I should. Oh, here we go. This is one that I really like. I did this in 2012. Another image of Angela Mitchell from a previous. There we go. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did that 10 years ago. And where's a color image? That image is garbage. Yeah, just there we go. Then I traced it and colored it. So yeah, that was a color image of the character that I did.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah. So.
All right.
And then of course, there we go. Another image of the same character as she appears at the beginning of The Eyes of a Killer.
Okay. I like her with short hair.
Yeah. Well, she was always going to have short hair, but I figured in The Eyes of a Killer at the beginning. Then there's a story reason why she has short hair at the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Legatus is saying, Deef talking about Canadian villains like Schneiderly Whiplash. Ghosts and Dunley do right to the rescue.
No, not all the villains are Canadian.
Okay.
But you have, there's this myth that, there's no crime in Canada. It's a load of absolute garbage, right?
Yep.
So.
Legatus, hello, Cobalt Bald Eagle. Hope Pudgy's okay. Yeah. Snort says, we laid him on the sofa to sleep it off. You may have let him have too much giggle juice the other day. Ooh, yeah.
How do I share an image?
Okay, go to present.
Present. And
then you want to share screen.
Okay.
And then go to the tab and click on the appropriate tab.
Okay.
Let's see. Bribing brothers is a good thing. Okay.
Okay. Just give me a minute here.
Okay. Oh, Cobalt is spoiling. Okay, go ahead.
So this is. Can you see what's going on here?
Nope.
Oh. Is it sharing the image?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Oh. That's weird. Oh, okay. Give me a moment. I'll figure this out.
Okay. Meanwhile, we have a spoiler alert from Cobalt. In Deef Book 3, there's a crowbar. Oh. You don't have to write the book.
Oh, there we go. Aha.
Derek, you don't have to write Book 3. It's already been spoiled.
Yep. So you can see what's going on here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is that picture that I did of Schroeder Laszlo 10 or 11 years ago.
Mhm.
And then I played around on AI art and put in a whole bunch of prompts, for about 2 or 3 dozen prompts going for what I was looking for. And I came up with that.
Ooh, nice. Hey, wait, he looks like the guy from Highlander.
Yeah. I put in prompts, young Christopher Lee and young Leonard Nimoy in there, because that's kind of what the character is supposed to look vaguely like. And so I can see, because this here, I actually drew from a picture of young Christopher Lee in like the 50s or 60s or whatever. And so this, because there are problems with the drawing that I did, and the perspective's a little off, even though it's still good, I think. But yeah, no, this one incorporates both characters or both people a little bit while being its own thing, right? So yeah, AI art is the future. That's basic. Oh, and here we go. So I was playing around with prompts for Hawk White. So I put Tom Hardy.
Yeah, it looked like Tom
Chris
Hardy.
Pratt. Yeah, Chris Pratt, Sam Worthington, and about 2 dozen others. And I came up to something like this, which I was impressed with. And this, of course, on the right side, not the bottom left, little hex there, or the top left. But yeah, I think that one actually looks pretty similar to what I envisioned the character looking like.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
All right. Let's see.
Stop sharing that screen there.
You don't, like I said, you don't have to write Book 3 because Cobalt already spoiled it. Cobalt. Let's see. And I guess he's taking Pudgy home to tuck in bed. Start countdown clock. Comic Relief likes it.
Ah, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. A writer, an artist, and can we expect a sculptor next? Marble or wood? Yeah, well, maybe we'll have you on to do models. Let's see. Oh, hi, Phantom Outsider.
If you want sculptors, you're going to have to interview Andy Masterson.
I've already done that.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, I've spoken to him. Obviously,
yeah.
It's been on the show.
Let's see. Phantom Outsider. Hello, Phantom Outsider. He says, looks like a hybrid Nick Cage and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Hello, Phantom.
Yeah, Schroeder's Schroeder's my best friend's main character, and he's quite the busy man, my best friend, and he's getting his PhD right now and all that kind of stuff. But I always consult with him for the scene in The Eyes of a Killer where Schroeder Laszlo is in it, introducing Hawk and Schroeder as friends. I wrote an original scene of how I thought it should go, and then we worked together for the next 2 or 3 hours to refine that scene. He's like, actually, this is what would be said. There was back and forth, and I argued for a point of something his character should say, and he ultimately agreed. So he is, aside from myself, he's my harshest critic, and so if he says he thinks it's good, then I know it's good, right? So
okay. All right, let's see. Is that a crowbar in the living room? I miss Scarlet. Uh-oh, now we're getting into Clue. Now, when doesn't Miss Scarlet have a crowbar after her close encounter with Snortopupus? Ooh. I love the Clue references. I love Clue. I love playing.
Well,
Clue.
you know what they say, crowbar a day keeps the bad guys away.
Yeah. Let's see. Legatus asks, how many pages is Circle of Vengeance?
60.
60.
Yeah.
Okay. A nice little novella.
Yeah, and it's a really good 60 pages. I was joking with my friends last night as to the promotional materials. You know, they always have those fake promotional materials. It'll, you know, I don't really want to repeat what we said, but no, it's a good 60-page book that you will enjoy, and you'll be like, yeah,
Think we'll see the movie or the
it's
television series.
it it would make a good hour-long TV show, Circle of Vengeance.
Okay.
And you'd be like, oh, this is really good. This is really good. And you know what's different about it? The protagonists are Canadians.
That's true. Yeah. Well, my protagonists are all multi-ethnic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like Angela Mitchell is born in Israel
Mhm.
and was raised in a Jewish family and all that.
Yeah.
And you know, is she still Jewish? Well, she would say it's complicated, but she
Mhm.
still identifies as being Jewish in one sense or another.
That sounds interesting because Tanya's Jewish. Lived in
Yeah, I saw that.
lives in Haifa. Or
Mhm.
yeah, born and raised in Haifa.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because Angela Mitchell's born in Tel Aviv.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Tel Aviv is by, if I'm not mistaken, Tel Aviv is right next to Jaffa from the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Haifa's the
Jaffa is
port.
where. Oh,
Haifa's
sorry.
the port city.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
So I'd have to look at it. Is Tel Aviv next to where Jaffa used to be? Are you familiar
Let
with
me.
Jaffa?
I'm a little rusty. Let me Google.
Okay,
Uh,
because just because Jaffa is where Richard the Lionheart landed.
let me.
Landed to relieve Jaffa from Saladin, and it was like the first opposed landing in history where he charged forward with a small band of warriors and defeated Saladin, even though he was massively
Okay.
outnumbered.
Oh yeah.
Pretty
All
epic.
right.
I'm a pretty
Uh,
big Richard the Lionheart fan.
okay. Haifa is on the north. It's a port city. Tel
Mhm.
Aviv is also by the. Tel Aviv is by the Mediterranean Sea. It's a seaside town. I do not see Jaffa. Um,
Okay.
let me
I don't know if Jaffa still even exists anymore, but
let's see. Let's see.
yeah.
Okay.
But I know Jaffa was the closest port to Jerusalem, which is why it was important to the Christians to hold it during the Crusades.
Let's see.
Of course, Acre was the most important port, which is why they had to take it back
Spell that. Spell Jaffa.
from Jaffa.
All right, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay, it's actually. Okay, it's actually. It's near Tel Aviv.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Yafo. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's part of Tel Aviv.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Google's Wikipedia.
I was thinking about having Angela be born. Well, first Tel Aviv, and then of course, I'm interested in the Crusades. It's just such a fascinating era of history. And then I found out that Jaffa was part of Tel Aviv or was very near to it, and I'm like, well, maybe Angela
Yeah, it's
should grow up
actually it's
there.
actually I think that's the port.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm rusty about my Israeli
Yeah.
geography.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, funny thing
Maddie's
about
Daddy.
Israel is that these, because you're a pilot, you like all that sort of stuff, but most of the pilots for in 1948 in the Israeli Air Force were American and Canadian Christians who had been to places like Bergen-Belsen and decided pretty quickly that the Jews were the underdogs, and so decided to go fight for them. Right.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
and of course, the Israelis were all very, very grateful for the support. And in fact, Canada's highest scoring fighter pilot, George Burling, was killed ferrying an aircraft to Israel in order to fight for the Israelis. And he crashed in Rome en route and was killed. But he was buried in Israel because he's still considered a member of the Israeli Defense Force.
Nice.
Yeah, they called him the Knight of Malta because he shot down like 27 Axis aircraft in 14 days of operations.
Okay. Hello, Maddie's daddy. Welcome. Let's see. Remember, the solution is Professor Plum in the dining room with the polar bear who was hiding in the chandelier. And the chandelier is Snortpoop is waving from said chandelier. Okay. Hello, Maddie's daddy. Good to see you. Let's see. Keep looking for questions. And and hello, pop culture curator. How are you? Welcome. We are interviewing Derek Beningfield. Am I saying that right, Beningfield?
Yep.
Okay.
And even spelled it properly.
Yes, and also known to us as Deef. Deef. So please like the show if you're enjoying it. And we are talking to him on his book, Circle of Vengeance. I hate these things. Okay, let's see. If you were to pick any actor to play the top cop in Vengeance, would it have been Charles Bronson if he was still available over a Clint Eastwood, etc.?
Steve McQueen.
Oh, okay.
Steve McQueen would have made a good Hawkwight.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And I've seen The Great Escape about 40 times, and I still cheer for Steve McQueen to make it over the fence. Like, he never gets away. It's so close.
Let's see. Or would the top cop be more like a John Steed, Patrick McNee of the Avengers TV series?
Never seen it. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Snort flies in, drops fish, then flies off again. Okay. So when do you think you're going? So you've got the sequel. You're working on that, and that's in the far future, correct? Or?
I have written officially the first page.
Okay.
I finished the first page last night.
Okay. But of course, you got to focus on Circle of Vengeance. Get the run on that.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, I received the first 25 copies a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Going to be going in next week when I'm on a better shift to pick up the rest.
Okay.
Of course, I gave him some time over the Christmas holidays
of
too.
Course.
So, yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, getting this done and getting the next one. The Gene Core projects. Getting the Gene Core project written, and that one's one that has been a long time in coming.
Awesome.
My best friend and I, the whole reason Circle of Vengeance in the Eyes of a Killer exists are because my best friend and I wanted to write the Gene Core project.
Okay. So that's going to be a collaboration.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I guarantee I'll be doing all of the writing, but he's still getting the co-authoring credit because, he's an incredibly driven, busy man. And every time I consult with him every step of the way about what the story is, and when it's his character, we're on Skype together, working out the conversations, working out the story beats and all that kind of stuff. So while I am doing the writing, he is intimately involved in the creation of the story. So.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, this has been a great time, great conversations. Some digressions especially with a certain hedgehog. At least we don't have the mayor guy.
Yeah.
But as always, it's a pleasure, Derek, to have you. I always want to call you Deef when you actually call
just call me Deef. Yeah. I I prefer Deef anyway.
Okay, Deef. Okay. Legata says, when the second book goes on sale, have you thought about also offering a bundle deal if you get both books for those who have yet to get the first one?
Yeah, I actually I have something like that planned right
Okay.
now for a couple of people in town who overpaid for the first one, because I was saying $15 for Circle of Vengeance for
Oh.
the Eyes of a Killer, and they just like, well, here's 20. Well, okay, you gave me $20, now you can have Circle of Vengeance for free, so both for $20.
Oh, okay.
But I like I said, I don't know if that's going to be a permanent thing or just a temporary thing. I have to find out what the actual what the butcher's bill is, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because if it costs me $800 for 100 copies of Circle of Vengeance, then I'm gonna have to up the price a little bit, because I would like to make a little bit of my money back, right? So
true. So true.
Yeah.
All right. Deef, it's been, like I said, it's been a pleasure, and look forward to talking to you again, and always look forward to having you on Just Cuz.
Thank you.
And,
I appreciate it.
And maybe we'll talk models sometime.
Awesome.
All right. Guys, you know what time it is. My stomach is already churning, but I know you guys want this, and it is time for, boy, no one's saying it out in the chat. I'm not doing it until it's said in the chat. No, it's not being said.
I'll have to show you the 32nd scale P-51 Mustang that I'm working on.
Okay, that sounds good.
I've only built the cockpit.
Did the chat go to sleep? Up, anchor. No, that's not what I mean. Okay. There we go.
Show notes.
There we go. Oh, I like this tag team. It's time for show notes. Yes, it is. And Phantom Outsider says, wait for it. And Comic Relief Crusader says, awesome interview. And King Dolphin and Deef. Yes, it was. Thank you again, Deef.
Thank you.
And now it's time for show notes. Not that one. The year to the remember and the show notes are the exact same view. So I always mix the two up, but that's what we do. That's what happens here at King Dolphin TV.
It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes with Mr. Raymond and Sandra too. It's time for show notes. Done.
Elizabeth Berkley, you have nothing on me. I will never see. I will never look at Saved by the Bell ever again the same way. Let's see. Snort says Snuffles live from Carnegie Hall, Pudgy with show notes. It's time for X2 and Encore. Okay. Once again, we did a great interview with Deef, and I thank him again for coming. Next week, we're going to have Adam Pask from Dancing Dog. He draws animal portraits, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of his work and talking to him about his process and all the good stuff. And on the 14th, we're going to have a cartoon character day on Just Cuz. What's that going to shape up with? I have no clue, but that's what happens here in Just Cuz. On the 18th, we're going to do another book interview. Going to be interviewing Raquel Briggs on her latest work. We will have on January 25th, Outer Rim Praxium, the lightsaber dueling troupe, and hopefully we will have Lady Malice. So that is what January looks like. And of course, every Saturday, unless it becomes a Sunday, we're going to have just cause, unless it's Sunday, where anything happens and usually does, and at least we survive with all our limbs intact. Oh, you want the fancy one? That was a seasonal one. We'll show it at the end here. Snorter Poopa says, Book 7, Revenge of the Moose. Oh.
If you ever want to learn about moose, speak to my dad. I just have to tell him to keep the F-bombs out of it.
I got a question for King Dolphin TV. If your one leg is notes and we had a show notes, what do we have to ask for to get both legs? Oh God, let's not even go there, Legatus. This is supposed to be a serious interview, but when we have show notes, that's usually what happens. So that is the show notes. So before we could bid adieu to the chat, Deef, hang on after the chat here. So let's close out show notes.
This segment is brought to you by TheDolphinBoys.com. It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. With Mr. Raymond and Sandra too. It's time for show notes. Dun.
Thank you very much. All right, so this was a wonderful time. It went really fast, and we found out about yet another book. So let us thank and say goodnight to the chat. Good night to Legatus Legionii. Cobalt says both legs is death metal show notes. Sandra dressed up in Kiss outfit. Ooh. Oh, don't. Let's. Shh. He's probably watching. Shh. Fett, just move on. Move on, Fett. So, good night, Legatus Legionii. And good night, the Comic Relief Crusader. Thank you for coming. Good night, Patchy Hedgehog. I know you're sleeping off your sugar kick. Hope you are okay. And, of course, StartupBookers.com. Good interview. And good questions about the moose.
That's right.
All right. Let's see. Okay, Sandra, our amazing producer, was here. And it's always fun to have you here, hon. I'm glad you take care of me. We had Cobalt, Bald Eagle, keeping an eye on Pudgy. And if that show notes changes, Cobalt, you and I are going to have some words. I'm going to put salt on your pinion, on your tail feathers. Let's see. We had Matt G. Thank you for coming, Matt G. Glad you were here. We had Phantom Outsider. Thank you. Again, we had Ms. Martin Muses. Glad you can make it tonight. Maddie's Daddy. Hello there. Glad you can make it. Please, everyone, like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We had the amazing pop culture curator. Please listen to him on Anti-Derivative Jill's channel when they do Star Trek reviews, and Pop Culture Curator puts stuff on his own channel. I don't have his thing on my site, but please go and like and subscribe him. We had Rita Castillo here. Adios, mi amiga. And thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed the interview, and glad you were here. Hope to see you on Saturday. And that is everybody. I am so glad everybody was here. And of course, I'm glad that Deef was here. Obviously, as the interviewee. What is this? Cobalt Ball. Okay. As Gene Simmons Demon, or is that more of a bare chested Raymond with Sandra as Paul Stanley? Ugh. Oh my. Snortopoopas is Space Ace Bear Freely. I think we're. Oh, congrats, Comic Relief Crusader. He hit 501 subs. Congrats.
Isn't that like the one battalion?
Yeah. That's let's see if I can. I wonder if it's either that or CRC.
Is that like the 501st Parachute Infantry Regiment?
I don't know. Okay. There is Comic Relief Crusaders stream channel. Please go and like and subscribe to him. And congratulations, Comic Relief Crusader. Glad to hear that. Maybe I'll get there sometime to 500. Yeah, maybe I can get there to 500. All right. And Sean Carter. Hello there, Sean. Welcome to the show. Better late than never. I'm sure you could catch it on the fly. Hope you can catch it on the fly. Let's see here. And that looks like that is everybody. And let's see. Isn't that the 501st Anakin Skywalker's Darth Vader's troop number? Mm. And Snortopoopa says, you're going to get a nasty Comic Relief. You're going to get a nasty letter from the Navy about those subs. Oh, okay. Let's see. And Sandra puts the email out there for your to get your books, The Eyes of a Killer.
Thank you, Sandra.
You need a website.
I know.
About that. Well, I'll get you into the 21st century. No, the late 20th century. Comic Relief Crusader says, Snortopoopas never. And thank you, Comic Relief Crusader. One lives in hopes. I'm not looking for the money. I'm looking to bring creators out into the public and entertain.
But money always helps.
Well, money involves, in my line of work, money causes a lot more paperwork. And I don't like paperwork.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right. So, everybody, I'd like you all to have a good night. Take care. And see you for Saturdays just 'cause. And everybody, be safe.